Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. This is Mariam here, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this nice bag. This type of crocheting is called Tunisian crocheting, and I'm going to show you how to make granny squares, or just squares, how you want to call them, from Tunisian crocheting. So I'm going to show you the white ones, and you can then use the same thing to crochet the other colors. You can change the colors, etc. So I'm going to show you how to do that with just white parts. So I'm doing 20 stitches in the chain, 20 loops in the chain. And then I just go into the loop, I take the yarn and I keep it on the hook. And I do it with every stitch and with every loop till the end of the row. As you can see, every loop contains 3 yarns. So I'm taking the 2 up and 1 is stays under the hook. So I go inside, take the yarn, and then I hold it on my hook. And the last one. Here it is. So we have the 20 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Yes, 20 stitches here, 20 loops here. So I'm going to go inside this loop, and I take the yarn and go through to these 2, and then the next 2, and then the next, and I'm doing this till the end of the row. So every square in this bag contains 20 stitches and 20 rows also. So it's it kind of looks like a typical square where all the sides are similar. I try to do that, so maybe there are some millimeters bigger or smaller in the sides, but in terms of stitches it's the same. So I did the same thing till the end of the row. So this is my first stitch, so I escape the first one, then I go into the second, and I take the yarn and I leave it on the hook, and I do the same thing till the end of the row. So here you can see that I go inside this is the stitch, and then I go into that. In Tunisian crocheting, if you just do something else, if you go somewhere, take the yarn from some other loop, it totally changes the stitches, like in every type of crocheting, I think. So just be attentive in this part to take the yarn from the place it should be, so the stitches look the same as in my tutorial, if you want them to look like that. So this is the last one, and here you can count again 20 stitches so you don't lose any stitch. And again, I'm doing the same thing as I was doing with the same row. I take the yarn and I go inside 2 loops. And this is the last one. And I'm going to do the same thing here also. So this is the first, so I skip the first stitch and I go inside the loop and I take the yarn and I keep it on the hook. Inside the loop, take the yarn and leave it on the hook, just like this. So guys, this is a typical crochet hook that I use. There are hooks which are used in Tunisian crochet. I think they are longer than the usual hooks. So if you go to a yarn shop, you can buy one there. But in case of small squares, I use a normal hook that I always do. And the yarn and the hook is 3 millimeter, so you can just somehow understand what type of yarn you can use. It's the same as normal, like the hook size depends on the size of your yarn. And I always most of the times I use half acrylic, half cotton jean yarn. I have a short where I show what type of yarn I use most of the times, and this was the last one. Here you can see the type of stitch here. It typically looks like knitting. If you know knitting, or if you have seen knitting process, you will definitely know that this is just look like that. And now after some time I crocheted this square, so we can count and see how many rows I did. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. 15 rows. I need to do 5 more. Yeah, be careful with the hook. This was maybe my first time to work with this type of hook. If you watched my videos, I always use like I don't use much wooden hooks, so it was my first time, I think, but I kind of got to used to it after a while, after I did all of the squares. and I continue doing the same thing, just like I was doing from the beginning. This is how it looks like in the front, and I do the same thing again. Go inside the stitch, take the yarn, keep it on the hook. Guys, tell me please if you want me to do tutorials for the other squares also, where I use 3 colors, or if you want me to do a tutorial about how to do like patterns with Tunisian crocheting. I will be very happy to do that tutorials, and I will be very glad to know that you are really interested in my tutorials. Thank you guys for following and for watching my videos. I'm super proud of what we're going through, and I really never thought that I can like show what I'm doing as a hobby to people who are not around me, or who are not close to me, who are not my friends yet. But I'm really happy, guys, you're here with me and you're watching it, my videos now. Here is the final result, guys, that I get. So let's count and see how many rows I have here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, and 20. And that's it. This is it was the 19th, and I'm going to do the 20th row. So you can see, guys, that this is the end. I think that crocheting one square took me like 10 minutes or so. It is more than granny squares, but I think it's worth it. But it's worth it because it looks really nice. I think that Tunisian, I always like knitting a lot. I'm so sorry for the people who like crocheting stitches more, but when I discovered Tunisian crocheting, I fell in love, because I always liked knitting, but I couldn't learn it and I can't do it as fast as I want to. And in crocheting, I know many stitches, and I can understand the pattern just by looking at the results. So crocheting is much more easier for me. But I really like knitting, and I was always like thinking that one day I will master my knitting skills. But here is it, just crocheting what my grandmother used to knit. So this was one of my goals as a crocheter, to learn Tunisian crocheting, and because it looks really nice, I think. What do you think about the Tunisian crocheting, guys? is it easy for you, or it is still hard, or did you try it ever? Just comment down below and answer these questions. Here is it, 20 rows, a square, and I've crocheted several white squares for the bag. In total I had 6 white squares and 6 colored squares. I used these 3 colors, pink, purple and white, and I did several patterns. You can see what kind of patterns I did. I crocheted, so if you're interested in any of them, I will be happy to show you in another video how to do that. These are really easy ones, guys. I'll be very happy to show you. So here is it, all my squares are ready. So I just sewed them together. You can use the sewing method of how you sew granny squares, or you just can sew them with a needle. So now I'm going to do the side part in the the side part. So the thing is that we can count how many rows we need. So the length, the width is going to be not very much, I think, just 2, 3, 4, and 5 stitches. So I'm doing the same thing, guys, the same thing here, the same stitch, the same loops, like and I continue it for several rows. I will say how I counted the rows. I counted that in the I have 2 squares in the length and width, and I have 3 squares in the length. So it's gonna be 40 plus 60 plus 40. So it's 140 rows, guys. Yeah, to cover the whole bag. So I need to do that much, that many rows. You will think that it will take a lot of time to do, but as the width is not that much, so this is just 5 stitches here, and one of them is the working one, so it's kind of goes really fast, so don't worry that it will take a long time. So you can see here the stitches, and I'm going to continue it 140 rows. So yeah, as I told you, 20, 20, it's 40. And I just marked the places where I count like 20, 20, to just to remember and not count every time. So to start from, in this part I'm going to show you how to add some stitches here. So you can see that I added from the first one and in the end. So I made from 5, I made 7, stitches, and then I'm going to do the same. So I thought, guys, what I did this, you can just continue with this 5 stitches the whole stuff, but I thought maybe it will be interesting to make it a little bit wider in the down the bottom side of the bag. So I just decided to make it a little bit wider. But if you are still new to the Tunisian crocheting, you can just do the 5 stitches and continue it till the end, or you can start with 7 stitches and do the whole thing with 7 stitches. But if you want to try widen the stitches here, please, you're free to try it. Then I will show you in the end how to make the stitches less. So when you get your the part where you need to do the sides, you can make it less. So here from 7 with 7 stitches, I'm going to do several rows, and I will make it a little bit wider and make it like 9 stitches in the bottom side, the bottom part. So you can see it's 7. I do the same thing. I take the yarn and I go into these 2 loops, and again it's like, looks like a single crocheting, I think, kind of. So I have the 7 stitches here done, and here I'm going to widen it with 2 more stitches. So you can see that the first one I took from the right side of the second stitch loop, and I'm doing here the same thing from the right side of the last loop. So here I have already 9 stitches, and I'm going to continue with 9 stitches till my 60 rows are done. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows, and it's 14 and minus 60 minus 14, so I'm going to do that much with 9 stitches. I'm so sorry for this math. If you are confused, feel free to comment down below and ask me questions. How I counted, I will be happy to make it easier for you. And as I already said, you can just start and continue with the same amount of stitches, so you don't have to do all this math. But if you tried and you got confused at this point, please feel free to ask me how many stitches you need, how many rows you need for 7 stitches, how many 9 stitches, and etc. So I'll mark the beginning of the rows where I make it wider to like remember how to end it. So you can see that we have 60 stitches here, and part of it will be with 7 stitches, and the other parts will be with 9 stitches. So this is the part with 9 stitches, and in here from this point I'm going to make the stitches less, so it's much more easier than adding stitches. So I take this one I do the same thing, right? So I go inside the loop, take the yarn from the bag, and I keep the yarn on the hook, all the 9 stitches. And then from the beginning and from the end, so you can see it's 9, we are going to make it 7. I take 2 loops together, so it becomes 1. The others I'm doing the same thing. Take the yarn, go into these 2 loops, and I do the same thing with the last 2 stitches. So you can see, like, from 3 I take 1, and when I go next row, you can see that it will become 7 stitches here. 6 and 7. Yeah, that's it, guys. I lost 2 loops here, so I'm doing the same thing, as many rows as you did from the beginning, to not lose, to make it like look the similar. You can count here and see how many rows we've done with 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to do the same amount of rows here, and then I will take 2 more rows, 2 more stitches to make the 7 stitches into 5 as I started at the beginning. So I did the 7 stitches, so you can see here how many rows do we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to make from 7 stitches to 5. So I just go inside, take the yarn, and keep the yarn on the hook, as I did from the beginning to end. And then I take the yarn and go into 2 loops at the same time. The other ones I'm doing as usual, and the last 2 I'm going to do the same thing, like from 2 loops. Here we go. So the first working is here. It's the second one, the third, the fourth, and the last one. See? And let's count 5 stitches. This is how we lost 2 more stitches here in this row. That's it, guys, and I continue and I make the handle as long as you wish it to be. Yeah, so I do this is how I did the sides, and then I just sewed the sides into the bag, and then I just sewed the zipper, and that's it. This is how it went, and this is how I get in the end, guys. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me any of them. I really enjoyed this project a lot, so I will be happy to share more information, and as I already said, I will be glad to show you how to do the patterns. I really like patterns a lot, and I will be happy to show you how to do them. And that's it. It is a very comfortable bag. It's not that big, but there are many things that you can put into it. And yeah, this is the end. Thank you for watching.